My name is Daniel. I'm Head of Enrolments here at Fourth Rev, and it is my pleasure to welcome you. This session is certainly about you. Whilst we've got a very, very special guest coming up, the engagement opportunity that you have is one to ask questions. So what we would love, firstly, is that if during my discussion and subsequent Q&A with Cynthia, our guest upcoming, that you have any questions, please do pop them in the Q&A function down the bottom there, and we'll certainly get to them as we go through. I am also going to provide a very, very brief overview of the program at the outset, and I've got a question for you that I'm excited to ask to ensure that we certainly provide you the content that you're seeking as well. During the event also, there will be a number of links that we will provide in the chat function, but please post your questions in the Q&A function. So the Career Accelerator in Product Management, we're really, really proud to be entering almost our third year now with this program and celebrating many, many learners' career successes. That's born of firstly, the way the content is designed in partnership and collaboration with both industry and employers to understand exactly what they're seeking for those looking to transition into product or advance their existing careers in product management, and also with the lens of academia, the underpinnings that King's provide, ensuring the rigour complements the industry relevance. That industry relevance extends to the fact that there are no exams in the program. Why would you want to do an exam? We don't see that there is any value for you in being assessed that way. What we would much prefer you do is build a portfolio of evidence to demonstrate to employers through practical assessments such as projects, presentations, and assignments. It's made up of 3 courses and 1 live industry project at the end. Course 1, Product Management and Strategy, that runs for 6 weeks and you get a week break. Course 2, Product Design and Development, again, a 6-week course with a week's break in between. And then lastly, launching products to market. So you can see we've gone through the whole product lifecycle stage there. The learning outcomes then enable your participation in a live industry-facing project at the end. We've worked with DocuSign, Sky, and numerous companies to bring you really relevant ways and projects that you can apply your learning to. So to frame that very quickly for you, yourself, along with 5 or 6 other high-caliber learners, will meet with Sky or one of our industry partners who will present to you a real product scenario or challenge that they're currently experiencing. Utilising the learnings from those 3 courses, you'll practically apply the learnings in a 6-week project, coming up with innovative and tangible solutions to that scenario, presenting your findings and recommendations back to the client, if I can call them that, in a consultancy style presentation at the end. That's invaluable as a practical way of applied learning, a great opportunity to network more deeply with your fellow peers, but also leaders of industry. And lastly, when you are going for your dream job, be it within your existing employer or a new employer, it is a much more powerful demonstration of your value to a prospective employer to tell the story of working in industry in the product realm than an exam result could ever be. And learners always give us that feedback of the value to that too. You're supported in a number of ways, academically, and also with a industry-based facilitator that hosts live sessions per week. You usually attend a live session of a lunchtime similar to this. They are always recorded should you not be able to attend live, but always best to attend live so you can ask questions that are relevant for yourself. There's also a success manager, but most importantly, and where a great deal of value that is often unheard of prior to commencement, is the addition of an executive-style career coach. And we're going to speak to Cynthia extensively about the value of career coaching and the program that sits alongside the Career Accelerator. There are 4 learning quadrants or 4 learning outcomes that we class as the learning quadrant. Obviously, there's the product skills that are really, really important, the stakeholder management, the ethics, all those sorts of things that employers are certainly seeking, but they are seeking the business application of that, and that's certainly the second part of the quadrant. Your personal learning is really important to us, and personal growth, those human soft skill elements. And lastly is that employability factor that is so important for you to obtain the greatest return on your educational investment possible. And that is obviously through the coaching. The application process and criteria means it is aimed at postgraduate level, so an undergraduate degree or relevant work experience will be considered, along with a one-page personal statement, and we'll pop a link to the personal statement template in the Q&A. But often the best thing that you can do as a resultant action from attending today is to book a time with your enrolment advisor. If you haven't already, they're going to have a very empathetic discussion about your big decision, be it to advance your existing career or change your career into product management as well. The upcoming presentation is commencing early in July. There are only 45 placements available, and we're well on the way to filling them, but there are certainly placements left. And the idea or the intent is for us to make this accessible for more people. So we do that in a number of ways by offering payment plans. So the course fees, including the career coaching element, where you meet with a career coach one-on-one monthly for the duration of the program and potentially longer, is included in the price of £6,000, and we can support you with interest and fee-free payment plans as a result of that. So you can have a 6-month payment plan, 9-month payment plan, or if you meet the financial criteria of our partner in EdAid, we can offer a 24-month payment plan. All have no fees and no interest as well. Just a reminder, this is about you and your circumstances and what you would like to know. So I'm going to very quickly invite Cynthia, but then ask that you pop some questions in. But before I do, I'd love to know from you in the chat function, two words, what you currently do or what industry you're currently in and what you're seeking to achieve. So that would be like teacher, career change, or software developer, advancer. So just tell us in the chat what you currently do and what you're seeking to do. And we would love that information to be able to tailor certainly a lot of other questions we ask of Cynthia relating to the majority of people in the audience as well. Good on you for giving up your lunch though. Hopefully you're warm. I've heard it's quite cold in the UK at the moment. Without further ado though, because I've spoken way too much already, I would like to welcome our very special guest who's currently on the program, Cynthia. Cynthia, welcome. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
My absolute pleasure. And Cynthia, I think it would be brilliant for you to give an overview of the audience of where you are and what you currently do, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Right now I'm based in London, but actually I'm from Argentina. I moved to the UK 5 years ago, more or less. Just to tell you a little bit about my background, I graduated back in Argentina as a system engineer, and then I came across with different roles. I started as a business analyst, then a Scrum Master, and right now I'm working as a project manager. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you. It certainly gives us a great grounding and understanding of what it is that you were and currently doing. What is it that you want to do though?
Yeah, that's the key question, and that's the question that I asked myself a couple of months ago when I started looking for this kind of program or courses to prepare myself for the position that I would love to be in the future. And that's a very serious question, and it's very typical question as well, because you've been asked this question when you have this interview where you're seeing yourself in 5 years. But yeah, last year I was thinking very seriously about it, and I realized that maybe I wasn't enjoying my current role so much, and I wanted a change. I start thinking and checking all the things that I'm doing in my current role. And as I'm working very close to product managers, I realized that I enjoy doing those things as well. So why not pursue that role myself? So that's when I realized, yeah, I'm going to become a product manager in the future.
Good on you. That's fantastic. And then you're obviously very similar to the majority, and it's great to see so many people commenting about what they do and what they're striving to achieve. they are on a similar journey to what you were. Tell us about your search for the right program that you felt was going to help you achieve your intended outcomes, and how did you come across this one?
Yeah, like in the past, maybe last year, I was doing these short courses, those ones that you can learn by your own, reading material, watching some videos, but that wasn't enough for me, at least. I wanted something where I can have some hands-on, where I can practice what I was learning, where I can have some feedback. And also, I felt that I wasn't ready, like my personal brand wasn't ready, my CV is not ready, I don't have a portfolio, so there are a lot of things missing for me to be ready to start applying for this position. So this is the funny part, I was scrolling Instagram and I saw the ad for this program, and it says Career Accelerator. It was saying like it was like 6 months or so. So I enrolled to a Q&A session just like this one. Then I was able to listen to the students there and realize that was the perfect fit because it's a blend between the practical, the knowledge, a career coach, then you have a success manager supporting through the whole journey. So that was really what I was looking for. And I'm really happy with the decision I took in that moment.
Oh, good on you. I didn't realize that you'd attended a Q&A as well. So thank you. And you've got so much in common with many people in the audience as well. So you made the decision, you commenced a few months ago now. You're almost 3/4 of the way through the Career Accelerator with the employer project upcoming. How have you found it? Like, is it what you expected? Is it what you were hoping it would be?
Yeah, it's more actually. Because when I was doing these short courses in the past, it was just reading and watching videos. But with this program, you are able to attend to live sessions with a facilitator that explain the material and allow you to practice with a group of people as well, with other peers. So that's something I wasn't expecting. And I realized that we were doing that. And so that was really, really amazing.
Excellent. And we preach, and everyone heard me at the start, no exams, practical learning. How practical is it really?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I can tell a little bit about that practical stuff. We are provided with this fictional scenario. It's a company that hires you to be the product manager. So you need to start applying all those frameworks that you are learning in this fictional scenario. So you really have to think as you are the product manager. You have to really add the rationale behind all your decisions. So that's really, really, really great.
And when you are successful, it's not if, it's when you are successful in your application for a product manager, how well do you feel this will equip you to apply for those roles with confidence, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I was struggling a bit as well, like with the confidence on myself. I suffer maybe most of you, the imposter syndrome. So this program is helping me as well to boost my confidence in myself. Just even having this interview with you is for me is a good achievement. So yeah, it's really good.
Good on you. Thank you so much for being so open. That's really brave, and I guess is also a testament to how much you've grown and will continue to grow in that personal quadrant of learning that I've mentioned. I guess I'm going to, if it's okay, drill into that a little deeper. How and what about the program do you feel has enabled you to be more confident and overcome that imposter syndrome?
We have some master classes where they explain the imposter syndrome, because maybe you have it, but you don't know you have it. So they explain a little bit more about that and some techniques that can help you to overcome to that. And also having these live sessions where you can freely ask questions and give your opinion, that's also help you. And working with the career coach as well is amazing, because maybe you don't realize you have so much or so many skills that you can transfer to a product manager position. till you talk with your coach and they start identifying all those transferable skills that you have. So that's something that really boosts your confidence as well.
It is such an integral part of the program, the career coaching. So at the commencement of the course, you go through a fairly substantial onboarding process of getting to know your fellow learners. You have a meet and greet, obviously, and we do foster that sense of community, but you also learn the learning management system, and then you move into your defining your values and then a rigorous goal setting process. The coaches then pick up from those two items, especially their coaching of you in a one-on-one sense, as I've mentioned. Talk us through what that looks like, and what are some of the things that you've done as a part of the coaching program that will equip you with the confidence to apply for the roles?
Okay, yeah. So I believe we have 6 sessions with the career coach. The first time we met, we tried to have a schedule of all the things that we want to achieve with it. Like, we work on my goals and what do I want for my future, what I want for my professional career. Based on that, we make a plan, like for all the sessions that we're going to have. Personally, I wanted to work on my CV, I wanted to work on my LinkedIn profile, I wanted to work on my portfolio. So all those things we try to scale in a timeline, and we're working on it. So in the first session, for example, we talk about all my experience, all the story. I tell her all the experience that I have, try to build my story, try to highlight all those, as I mentioned, transferable skills to the product manager. Also, we did some kind of research of product manager roles in the market. And something very interesting that the career coach asked me, and I didn't think about that in the past, is what kind of product manager you want to be. Where do you feel more comfortable working? What kind of market do you want to work on, or industry? So those kind of questions start make you think, where you want to be. So that's something that it really helped me as well. So you can narrow down a little bit your decision.
That's really insightful, and I guess it's important too, and something we might not always think of, aligning our values with organisation or roles, because not only will it give us a higher chance of success in applying for them when it is aligned, and that will shine through in an interview process, but there's a great deal more enjoyment in one's role when you're in an environment in which you're value aligned as well. As you mentioned earlier about identifying those transferable skills, just so people know, probably 70% of our learners are career changers, and the rest, obviously, there's some career starters, and there's a fair few career advancers in product already looking to advance their career. They may be working with physical product, looking to move into digital, for example. But with the majority of career changes, that is something that is so valuable to consider when making the big decision, not only to invest in oneself through a program such as this, but change careers. It's a really big decision. Just a reminder for everyone, there's some great questions coming through. Please keep them coming. We're going to get to them as quickly as possible. I've got 1 or 2 more, if that's okay, if you'll indulge me for a moment with a few more questions. So I guess, let's talk about it in a practical sense. So you're working and you're studying and you've got other life commitments as well. What does a normal week look like in the program, and how do you fit it all in?
Yes. At the beginning of this program, we have this orientation week where you're being told of the amount of work and the time you need to spend studying and preparing for the assignments. So you can have an idea of how much time you will be spending on this, and you need to prepare your routine and adapt to that study routines that you have planned. For me, for example, I don't have kids. I work for the US and I start working at 1 p.m. So I have all the morning free just for me and do what I want to do. So I use that time to study, read the material, and prepare for the assignments that we have.
That's interesting. What time do you finish?
Like 9 p.m. It's quite late, but you get used to it.
I know. I'm in Australia and I work evenings for the last 3 years as heading up enrolments, because most of our learners are UK or Europe based, but we do have learners from other parts of the world as well. So yeah, I certainly have a similar working time frame to yourself, and it does provide benefit. So roughly how many hours a week are you committing to the studies then?
Yeah, more or less maybe 10, 12 hours a week.
And then they've got the live session as well.
Yeah, and then we have live
sessions.
sessions. We have drop-in sessions and then live sessions like every week.
So it is a commitment. Let's not get ourselves, let's not paint a picture that's unrealistic. There is commitment, there is sacrifice to do, 12 to 15 hours a week. And most learners are certainly reporting closer to the 15 hours per week with the coaching sessions or with the masterclasses and live events that are hosted as well. And that involving others with the decision-making process. If it is family or if it is friends, that you're going to have to say, sometimes I can't go out on Friday night because I've got an assignment due and things like that. There is sacrifices, but no other program will give you the volume of content, the rigor behind the content, and the outcome that this will in that space of time. So it is a sacrifice well worth making. There's some brilliant questions. I've got 2 more. Before we get to them. Challenges. Have you experienced any challenges? Let's be honest with the audience. Are there any challenges experienced so far in the program?
Yes, I would say the main challenge is to create this routine for the study and take it seriously. Like try to adapt your life to this study's timing, because there are a lot of material to read. And when you do these assignments, you need time also to think about that and add all your rationale behind it. So yeah, the main challenge is like follow that routine, that study routine that you created at the beginning.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Lastly, from me, it is so important when applying for product management roles for 2 things. One is to demonstrate your value via a portfolio of evidence. So I do want to touch on that, and then I want to touch on the AI masterclasses inclusions that you've experienced as well. So firstly, tell us about the development of a portfolio throughout the learning.
Yeah, okay, yeah. When I was thinking about applying to to the product manager position, I didn't know product managers have a portfolio, so that was new for me. And we had this masterclass, as you mentioned, explaining us why the portfolio is important, how the portfolio is created, what we need to add it, what is the story that we need to tell behind the portfolio. So I'm started reviewing examples, and I believe it's a good way to showcase your work, to showcase what did you do in those exercises or on your previous experience. So I'm right now I'm working creating one of my own portfolio, and there are different tools that you can use to create it.
Are you using Figma?
Yeah, you can use Figma, you can use Google Sites. There are other tools that you can pay and you can create the portfolio there.
Wonderful. That's brilliant. And then you've got the employer project upcoming, where that will add a big piece of work to your portfolio. Yes. Do you know who you're working with yet on your employer project?
No yet. Right. Yes, I believe it's going to be on September. We are going to know more about that, but we are really excited, because the good side of that as well is that you can work with a group, like you work with a team, with your peers. That's something good as well, to have someone by your side working together.
Wonderful. That's brilliant. Thank you. Just for everyone's benefit as well, I'm going to stick around after our discussion, Cynthia, to answer any really specific questions regarding application process or EdAid eligibility, and I would like to extend an offer to the audience as well. Let's get into some audience questions first. Some of them I'll answer and some of them I'll pose to yourself, Cynthia. Do you work at, so someone's asked, do you work at the employer partners offices or is this remote? The whole program is remote. That then enables people in other parts of the world to participate, as we do in the many workplaces now as well. We curate the projects, ensuring they meet your learning outcomes that are required and expected, but also the academic requirements that King's have of the project. So we partner with all sorts of organisations, some NGOs, some startups. We've worked obviously with big companies like DocuSign and Sky and others on really innovative projects, but all of them have the value add of the practical application of the learning and the contribution to your portfolio. So that will certainly be online. Someone's asked if their company will pay half. Yes, we can facilitate split invoicing there. Speak to your enrolment advisor if we can. Would you provide detailed learning documentation text course book to support the learning of the 3 modules? I'm going to pose this to yourself, Cynthia. So tell us what the content is made up of. So you click through modules on the learning platform.
Yeah.
What are the, and it takes you internally, externally. That what is it made up of?
Well, we have this platform where the course material is posted. You can navigate through the different modules and the different reading material. The material is very diverse. You can read it. There are some videos that you can watch, and also there are some external information that you can keep reading if you are very into the topic. So it's very, very complete. And it's
That's
really
engaging when it's video, animation.
Yeah, and also
real stories.
Yeah, and if you have a hard time reading, there are some immersing, you can play it and it will read it for you.
That's interesting, and you can track your progress towards then submission. Then tell us then, someone's asked here, so thank you for that question, whoever posted that one. How are you assessed then, I guess, on what you submit? How does that look?
Sorry?
Your assessments. So you're graded on your submission, assignments and so forth. What does that look like?
Well, we have deadlines that we need to submit this assignment. After reading all the material and applying all the techniques that we learn, we submit this assignment, and after that we get our marks. And the good thing is just not marks. This expert tell you what did you do good. That is really encouraging for the future assignments, and also where you can improve. That is really valuable because in other courses maybe you don't get that feedback where you can improve things. So that's really important to have.
That's a really, really good point. It might be something to get 80% on an exam, but to learn where you lost the 20% is the most valuable part of that process that they don't go through. So to get an industry expert or industry-based facilitator providing you feedback, that's rich learning.
Yes.
I've submitted the best I can, but where are the gaps as to what I could do better? And thank you for addressing that. That's a really, really good point. Now we've got some more questions coming through. Race has asked here, I hope I pronounced that correctly. What other certifications for this accelerator program is it world recognized? 2 things. I'll answer that one if it's okay, Cynthia. Firstly, it's well regarded by industry because industry has contributed to the design of the content, first and foremost. So we get employers reaching out to us now saying, can we advertise a job for your learners to consider? All sorts of people reaching out regarding that. So King's also have an amazing reputation for employer outcomes and employer recognition. Lastly, and probably most importantly, we have now just about to commence our 2nd group of postgraduate certificate learners. So there is the product management program now has a postgraduate certificate component. The Career Accelerator contributes to the grades or the credits required to achieve a level 7 qualification. And then you have the option of doing an industry-based project of your own and dissertation that will award then a qualification. What is highly recommended for people to consider is going through the Career Accelerator and obtaining your intended employment outcome or career outcome, be that to advance your career, start your career, or change careers. Get comfortable in that role, and then consider, once you're in that role, how you could frame a practical project, an academic dissertation on a scenario in the workplace, so that you get the real productive outcome from that. So we're really, really pleased to be working with King's on this. The second group of students ever are about to commence on their postgraduate certificate learning journey, and it being a level 7 qualification awards 1/3 of credit towards a master's as well. In terms of international recognition for your question as well from the audience, King's are globally renowned, especially for their humanities and their research expertise. And it's interesting that the second highest amount of international student enrolments for King's is actually the US of A, because of their recognition in those particular areas, the humanities faculty, which this program sits as a part of. That's a great question, and thank you. I'll come back to your other question in a moment. So, Yvette, thank you for your question. Maybe the question is too late. No, it's not. But when do you follow the courses? Do they interfere with your daily activities or current job? Cynthia, so there is scheduled times for live sessions. Are you doing evening or are you doing lunchtime live sessions?
Depends on what I have, because sometimes I do lunch sessions, sometimes I do on night. Depends on what I have. You can join whatever when you have the availability. You have this 2 slot time and you can join when you're available.
So Yvette, in answer to that, no, the majority of learning is asynchronous, meaning you choose when and how study fits in with your life rather than fitting in with a university timetable. Is that fair to say, Cynthia?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can join this live session, you can rewatch it later on your own time.
Exactly. And that's part of planning your study. As you mentioned during the orientation, planning out when you would commit to study, blocking that out, getting in the habit. For those of you that may not have studied online, there is self-discipline involved, but you do get support from a success manager who'll be your cheerleader and
Yeah.
you know, firm with you when if you're falling behind, but firm but fair in the sense of for your benefit. So planning those and blocking out those times, I think, is really important to develop the study habits that are successful as well. Someone's asked here, I saw something about the postgraduate. I've just mentioned that, and I'll go a little bit deeper into that after Cynthia's answered all the questions as well, if you would like. Thank you for the question. Are there many students outside the UK? Is the career support, the contacts, connections with potential companies only applicable for students in the UK? That's a great question, and thank you, whoever posted that. Cynthia, I'm going to ask you that, I guess, the diverse nature of learners within your cohort that you know already, because you've obviously discussed many things with them in the online portal, and you'll meet more of them, coming up in the industry project. But whilst the majority are no doubt from the UK, tell us about the diverse nature of learners in your group.
There are people from the UK, people based in London. I know someone that is living in Italy, for example. So I think it's you can do it remotely, and there are people around the world here.
Yeah, really well put. And to extrapolate that out a little, our average age of learner is early 30s, actually. A very high percentage are seeking to change careers. We usually have slightly more women than men that we're really proud of achieving that diverse, because industry is still trying to catch up in many areas with that, but we're certainly seeing a great number of enrolments from women. Over 50% are women. It changes intake to intake, of course, and it's generally about 70-30, 70% UK based or close to, and 30% other regions, and they may include Europe, Middle East, some here in Australia, and some South Asia as well, across the learners that we've seen, but certainly the majority in the UK. In terms of contacts, connections, and potential companies, we do have international companies that we've worked with. We do have recruitment firm partners also that recruit globally for product managers as well. And many of our industry-based contacts, networks, and facilitators all over the world, really, as well. We've just answered the question regarding the live sessions. What time do they happen? Thank you for that question. There's a direct question to yourself. Cynthia, was this course worth it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm learning a lot, and I'm not sure how you are, but when I'm learning something, I'm happier. You know, my mood change because I'm feeling that I'm doing something for myself. I'm taking seriously my career, and I take the time to do that. And now is the time. So yeah, also it's really nice. And yeah, that would be that. Learning something new for me, at least, is a good feeling, and it creates satisfaction. So yeah.
And the value will come also, as we've seen with so many of our graduates, in obtaining the intended career outcome. And you're on certainly the right pathway with not only the skill development, but also the coaching. And that brings me to the next question regarding how frequent are the career coaching sessions for you, Cynthia?
Sorry?
How frequent are the career coaching sessions?
Oh, it's you can plan that as you want it. You have 6 sessions, and you can plan as many as, I mean, how often as you want. If you want to do it monthly, or if you want to do it weekly, depends on how fast you work with the things that the career coach is asking you, because you have to prepare your story, you have to prepare your CV, and you will need time to think about your past experience and think about what you really want and that kind of stuff. So it will depend on you when you want to schedule that.
That's a really good point, and a great question too, because it's not as if it has to be every month from the start of the program.
Exactly.
The value may lie in doing the program and then picking up the coaching when you're applying for roles, for example, so that you can be coached through preparing for the interview and other things like that. Most people do take sort of a monthly coaching approach, but there is flexibility in that as well. There's another, I'm going to get to David's question next. What percentage of attendees successfully go on to work as product managers? Great question, David. Thank you. So we're really proud, and we both internally and externally celebrate as often as we can the individual career outcomes that we see on a daily basis across our career accelerators, but particularly pleasing is the ratio of learners that do obtain a product role relating to following the course. So there's actually an 80% graduate rate of successful employment outcome. Now, I've just got to give you a little bit of an overview of that statistic. Those are learners that have not only completed the program, but the coaching element. And there are many learners also that we can't count as a career outcome. And that is because they're looking to apply the learning to their current role as a product manager. So they're not necessarily looking for a career outcome, but 80% within 3 months of completing the program have certainly obtained their intended career outcome, be that to advance, commence, or change into product management, which we're really proud of, and we want to do everything that we can to ensure that that's close to 100 if ever we can get there, because that's what the return on investment is. So is there discussion around the likelihood of going straight into a PM role as opposed to maybe starting with roles that may act as a bridge into PM? Great question. That's a very individualized outcome-based question, because everyone's different, but everyone has, I think the easiest way to term this, everyone has really obvious and some completely oblivious transferable skills into product. And I've seen recently some really successful outcomes for teachers that realized that their transferable skills was actually managing a group of stakeholders in terms of a class towards a common outcome, which may not have been a product, it might have been a project, but they had that transferable skills of managing competing priorities and groups of people that they could highlight. So there are many that go straight into PM roles, but it also depends on individual backgrounds. Some go into product align roles with a great deal of confidence, but the best thing that you could do is certainly chat to your enrolment advisor who'll give you individual examples that they can, and also discuss your individual circumstances and how that may align. But that's a really good question. I'm going to ask you this question, Cynthia. What experience do the course facilitators have? Have they actually worked as product managers in the past, or are they still currently working as product managers in industry?
Yeah, the facilitator that we have right now is a product manager. That is his real job. So the good side of that is he can give us real examples, you know, from his job or from his past experience.
It's so important. I think if any content out there is more than 18 months old, it's probably outdated, but having that industry lens ensures that we are constantly reviewing from both an academic and, most importantly, industry sense, the content and the additions that we can provide value for our learners. And I'm going to discuss in length for those in attendance the inclusion of AI masterclasses shortly as well, because that's such an important part of product roles moving forward. Have you attended one of the AI masterclasses yet, Cynthia?
Yes. Yeah.
I might touch on that now for the audience. I'll give a quick overview, but I guess until now, certainly AI skills in the workplace have been a nice to have, but not a job requirement. That's set to change rapidly. So what we're including in the Career Accelerator is 4 expert-led real live workshops that have actual tasks and associated outcomes embedded within that. So can you give us, and I'm going to give a bit more of an overview of what that looks like, but tell us about the one that, or the 2 that you may have done so far. Who led them? Do you recall who that was? And what was the learning outcome for you?
Yeah, I was saying we have this portfolio masterclass where they told us the story, how a portfolio could be built. And then we have this session for the imposter syndrome that we can share that our experience and identify with this syndrome as well, and how we can overcome that. So yeah, I attended all those sessions and were really good.
So masterclass number 1 will be an introduction to AI for product managers. Masterclass 2, using AI to improve productivity. 3, knowing when and how to integrate AI into the product. And lastly, it will be an open masterclass. The reason we're doing it with industry experts as well is because it's changing so quickly. As I said, if you are looking at other programs and their content is more than 12 or 18 months old, you've got to question the relevance and how it fits with the rapid change within industry. So live expert, globally renowned product managers and AI expert led masterclasses are our solution to that, so we can adapt that content to completely what is most relevant both here and now in industry especially. Great question regarding the facilitators. So another one for you, Cynthia. Someone's worried about working full-time and taking up this course. What if they can't make the learning sessions as they sometimes travel for work?
You don't have to worry about assisting all. I mean, if very good if you can assist to the live session, but if you can't, you can rewatch it by your own, because all the sessions are recorded, so you can watch it later. And I'm working full-time as well, and I'm doing it, so I'm sure you will do good as well.
Exactly. Always best to attend live when you can, to ask questions that are relevant for yourself. And the next question feeds into this really well. How are the live teaching sessions structured? How long are those sessions? And do they include open Q&A sessions or interactions between teachers and students?
So there are 2 different sessions in the week. The first one is a drop-in session that is 30 minutes where you can ask questions related to the material, to the assignment, to whatever thing you need to get an answer. And then we have these live sessions with the facilitator as well, where the facilitator explain us a little bit the material, and then we run some exercise, and that was it is 1 hour And then after the exercise and sharing the feedback and so on, we can ask questions as well.
Excellent. So they're very interactive. It's not as if someone's just lecturing. It's
No.
a
Yeah.
workshop style session.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Great question. Thank you for that one. Is this program suitable for experienced people? Yes, we have many career advances that have loads of experience across often a product related to or a physical product that are looking to transition into digital, and product managers who are looking to elevate their career to the next level and obtain often a formal qualification in the form of a postgraduate certificate as well. So 30% at least of our learners, up to sometimes 40%, are career advances. That bodes well for roles within the project and also engaging with people from such different backgrounds to understand different sample sizes and all sorts of things. Got some more questions to get through quickly. I'm conscious of time. Have you found any difference in this recent and current difficult job market regarding product management and successful employability after the course? There's been a little bit of talk surrounding that, and I think products held up quite well compared to some other sectors that we've certainly seen somewhat of a downturn in. I think what is holding product in such good stead is industry's understanding of it as a value add role for an organization, first and foremost. Because if you think of, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, product management was hardly a role that anyone knew of, let alone wished to pursue as a career as early as that. They were there, of course, but since that time, and there's been quite the explosion in industry understanding the value of someone overseeing all of the different stakeholder groups to bring what is so essential to business now, a product to market and have that customer lens on it, and all the stakeholder management and ethics that go with that as well. So I think that's held up really well, but it's a great question and one that I think everyone should always keep an eye on different trends relating to outcomes for that. But we've heard some talk about it, but I certainly think products held up really, really well of late as well. The other thing is also you certainly can find them, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to find a physical product that doesn't have a digital element to it now too. So if it's a can of Coke with a QR, on the side of it that takes you to a digital product, if it's a medical device that will certainly have an app associated with it, that I think in itself will continue the growth and need for product managers moving forward. Between the live sessions, now this will change. This is another question for you, Cynthia. Between the live sessions, how much time in a week would you say spend collaborating with other students? So there's obviously the portal in which you discuss different things, but it'll obviously explode once you do the industry project. But how many, what's the interaction like outside of the live sessions with other students? Great question.
Yeah, well, we have these live sessions where we can form groups and discuss the assignment or whatever. And also something that I really like about this cohort is that we created this WhatsApp group with our peers, so we can exchange everything we need, like questions, concern, tips. We are sharing a lot of things there. And also we have a portal where we can post questions as well for the other students so they can see and the facilitator can answer that as well.
Excellent. And that's important, isn't it? I mean, you should feel somewhat apart, but together, apart in a physical sense, together in a student cohort sense. And that's also reflected in the exercise that you do of peer reviews. We haven't touched on that yet, but what's the peer review process like that makes up 10% of your assignment grades and so forth?
So we have this chance to submit part of our assignment first for our peers to review it and give us feedback. So you will submit your assignment and 3 peers will give you feedback. I know all of that is anonymous. And then you have to do the same, give feedback to 3 peers. Yep. And it's a really good chance to adapt and improve your work through the final assignment that you will submit.
Excellent. And that's invaluable too, but it senses that culture of together and networking with your peers as well. Cynthia, are you able to access King's facilities to access study rooms and libraries?
I didn't explore that. So
Not
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Certainly, we do host an event at King's for graduation, which we love, and we love hearing the student stories when we host those events. And part of the postgraduate component will certainly enable access to King's Library. It wouldn't be fair to offer it to some and not others when they're overseas and things like that. So if all resources are certainly available online for the program as well. What is going to be the support for relocation in the market for a new job position? Ras has asked that. There is a great deal of support. We've touched on the coaching aspects. If it's a relocation that you're looking for, I'm not sure if you're meaning to migrate to the UK and visas and things like that. I'm not sure. There would be elements of that would assist in the coaching process, but it wouldn't be this employer has a visa-related role. It would be more about positioning your skills for skilled visa requirements. I think that may be what you are asking. Here's one for you, Cynthia. What aspects of a product manager role made you choose this career path?
Well, several actually. I like solving problems. I like talking with users or people and identify their pains and see a way and build with them how we can solve those pains, how we can solve those needs. So that's what made me choose this career.
That's brilliant. And it's so rewarding also as a goal to have as a career, but also when you're in it to actually achieve the outcomes. So that's something we hold dearly and we should all hold dearly in our roles is being proud of the outcomes that we produce, and PM certainly produce amazing outcomes, managing all the stakeholders to come together for a common goal and outcome in getting a product to market or refining an existing product. Here's a great question as well to finish up on. And if anyone's got other application related questions, I'm going to stick around a little longer. Did anyone in your cohort have children? If so, how did they manage? I'm going to add on to this, but specifically in your cohort, Cynthia, any mums or
Yes,
dads?
yes, moms and with very small children, like maybe month, babe, yes,
Only months old.
yeah, exactly. And they are coping with it. And also we have this WhatsApp channel, as I was saying, that we provide help. If they are running behind schedule, they're asking questions and we can help them with whatever they need. And also the success manager, I believe, is very closer to them, and they help them to achieve all the deadlines that we have.
That's so good to hear. I didn't realise that you were offering, specific support via the chats to mums and the like, but we are passionate about empowering mums, especially. Don't get me wrong, it's dads as well, of course, but we do have learners on current mat leave or changing careers, seeking to enter the workforce after a period of mat leave, and there's nothing more exciting than because that is so daunting for many women. Having sometimes multiple children and a fair amount of time out of the workforce, the next career step is often daunting. Things have changed at a rapid pace, but to see those career outcomes are really, really special for us, because PM is a great role to integrate one's self into the digital economy without necessarily having the hyper technical skills required for many roles. It's more of an overarching management role than it is so much technical. Having a technical understanding sometimes helps, certainly, but it's certainly a role that is negotiated by many mums returning to the workforce, which we love. I'm going to finish the Q&A questions there, but we'll stick around also to answer any application specific or criteria specific questions. But I have one more question for you, Cynthia, I guess, and that is, if you have any sort of advice to give the audience in arriving at a decision to undertake studies, what would that be?
I would say, like, start thinking what you want for your future, for your professional career, and just keep the step to it. Like, now is the time, because you always will find things to postpone that decision. You will never have time, you will never have the money. You will now my child is too young or whatever. So just think what you want for your future and start doing it. Start taking the steps to do that. So and this program is a very good way to start making a step closer to what you want.
I love what you said there. There is always a reason, or always something in the way of us committing to something. But if we can block that out, I guess some ways in which I help people arrive at a decision would be to ask yourself this. If in 12 months' time, I asked you if you had your last 12 months over again, what would you do differently? And what do you have to do today to ensure the answer to that question in 12 months' time is, I'll do nothing differently. I'm really happy with where I'm at. It helps you picture, it helps people make small steps towards a big goal by asking that question regularly of oneself. And there are always things that get in the way, but often the most rewarding outcome is that we've overcome them along the way. It also is so important with what you said, Cynthia, to engage those around you in your decision-making process. If you have got kids, obviously some of the audience have, I don't know how young they are or how mature they are, but engage family. I'm, mum or dad, I'm looking at doing, sorry, not mum or dad, as mum or dad, I'm looking at doing this program. The outcome will be that the family will benefit from an increased wage and mum or dad will be happier following their dream career, but it will involve sacrifice. So, Saturdays are going to be mum or dad's study day, and engage with them, but also see that sense of pride that they will have, and the positive example it sets studying and being accepted with King's College London, one of the top 30 in the world. So engage others. It might be your workplace. I'm considering doing studies. I won't be available as much on the social side of things, and your friends group as well. But Cynthia, I'd like to end by saying a big thank you to you. Your journey thus far has been impressive. Your journey from here will inspire us. We'll certainly keep track and look forward to updating all of those in attendance of your career outcome once we celebrate that in the not too distant future. We look forward to following your progress as well. So from me and from all in attendance, thank you ever so kindly. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Good on you, Cynthia. I'll stick around and answer any other questions now as well. And I will touch a little bit more on the funding available for people if they would like to know more about the payment plans as well. Just checking if there's any other questions coming through specific to the program. As I mentioned earlier, 6 and 9 month payment plans are available. What I did fail to mention also alongside that 24-month payment plan was the option of paying upfront in full and receiving a discount or a fee reduction to the price. That enables learners to access a £450 discount to the course fees or reduction to the course fees. And that's often supplemented with those that have an employer sponsor their learning, for example. And I'd be happy to give some dot points as to how to frame that conversation with your employer, because it is to their benefit as well to have you studying what is hopefully relevant to your role. The application of learning is obviously one that would certainly be of benefit to them. Secondly, the opportunity of retaining quality talent such as yourself by sponsoring your employment is often a motivation or a mutual benefit in their sponsorship of that. And then lastly is bringing ideas from other industries into yours is great value for your employer. You'll be exposed to many other sectors and industries, especially with the employer project. And that can be really, really beneficial as well. Any questions or thumbs up if you want me to just dive a little deeper into the AI inclusion or the postgraduate certificate. I'll see if there's a requirement for that, or have I been clear on that? It seems I've been clear. So lastly, application process. So the next intake starts on the 8th of July. There's 45 placements maximum that we take. We cap numbers at that level because of the individualized support that you receive, number one. So we've got coaching capacities or capacities with our coaches. But most importantly, if we open it up for a few hundred learners at a time, we feel also that your roles and responsibilities within the industry project would be diluted to the point that they would be less realistic. When you've got 5 or 6 on a project team, it's much more representative of what might occur in industry. So hence we keep it at those numbers there as well. A successful application looks like this. Upload your transcript from your previous studies, your identity document, and a 1-page personal statement. It doesn't need to be much more than that. We just want to know your motivation to study, your intended outcomes. And that document is a little important for the process because your academic background and employment background is self-evident. What we want to know is your story. That enables the admissions team to assess that, but also more importantly, your career coach to pick that up and understand if there is any areas of empathy required in their support of you, for example, or just get an understanding of how they can expedite their support of you towards your intended outcome or career goal, which is most important for them and you. Once you submit your application, if you haven't spoken with an enrolment advisor, they will reach out to you, or there will be an option of booking a time with your enrolment advisor, and that is a critical piece or the final piece in the application process. However, what I often recommend or always recommend, if you haven't done so already, is having a chat with your enrolment advisor prior, because they will help you structure what is most definitely going to be a successful application then as well. So I'll get Sam to just pop in the book a time with your enrolment advisor again, and go ahead, as Cynthia said, take a point of action from your attendance today by booking that time or submitting your application. We will look forward to not only welcoming, we certainly look forward to supporting you during your studies. And lastly, we mostly look forward to celebrating your success when you attain your intended career outcome in product management. It's been my pleasure to host this today. It's been brilliant to learn a great deal from Cynthia and her experience in the Career Accelerator. We will host additional events upcoming as well, but there's only a few weeks to go until the next intake commences. Let's get it done. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.